numerical question. So now we are going to attempt the another numerical question. Fine. So you can see the question on your screen. So I have written the question here, problem number 16. Following is the balance sheet of Sohail and Amir as at 31st March 2020, sharing profits in the ratio of 3:2. That is their old profit sharing ratio. In liability side, we see creditors, employees provident fund, workmen compensation reserve, general reserve, capitals of Sohail and Amir. Bank in asset side, debtors minus PVD, provision for bad debts, stock, land and building, plant and machinery, advertisement spent. Fine. They admit Tahir as a new partner on 1st April 2020 for 1/6 share in profit. Okay. It was decided that value of land and building be increased by 6,000, value of stock be increased by 5,000, provision for doubtful debts be increased by 3,000, a bill of exchange of rupees 20,000 which was previously discounted with banker was dishonored on 31st March 2020, but no entry has been passed for dishonor. We will tackle this treatment very carefully. Just because of this only I have taken this question. Liability against workmen compensation reserve was determined at rupees 40,000. See here the word determined is used. Okay. Tahir brought in as his share of goodwill rupees 20,000 by check. Okay. Tahir was to bring in further check of rupees 30,000 as his capital. Okay. Prepare revaluation account, partners capital accounts and balance sheet of the new firm. Fine. So let's start attempting this question. So very first we need to prepare the revaluation account. Okay. So because in this question journal entries are not asked, so we are not preparing. Okay. So value of land and building be increased by rupees 6,000. So these are going to come in buy side. You can do the journal entry in your mind. Okay, what entry will be passed here? Land and building account debit to revaluation. So it will be posted like this by land and building. How much? 6,000. Okay, one is done. Second, value of stock be increased by 5,000. Fine. Similarly, by stock 5,000. Now provision for doubtful debts be increased by 3,000. Here it is different. Okay, provision here it does not exist. Here it is. Fine, already we have the provision of 2,000. It has to be increased by 3,000. So it has got nothing to do with this. Only the value of this is going to increase. So as provision is a liability and whenever the liability rises, it means it is supposed to be credited. So revaluation account debit to particular liability. So here to provision for bad debts account. How much amount? 3,000. Alright, now let's talk about this, a bill of exchange, but this is not related to this revaluation, let me tell you. Okay, so we'll talk about it later on. This is related to revaluation. Liability against workmen compensation reserve was determined. See here, the reserve value is 30,000 and the claim is of there of 40,000. Fine. So if we pass the journal entry related to this, what will be the journal entry? I would like to remind you. Workmen compensation reserve account debit. How much amount? We have in total 30,000. And to workmen compensation claim account. Here we use the word claim, not provision for workmen compensation. Understood? Because it is determined. Okay. So it is of 40,000. Now 10,000 are short. Okay. So this 10,000 will be temporarily put in revaluation account, because this will be borne by the partner. Okay, so according to this entry in revaluation account, we will pass the entry by this to workmen compensation claim, but the amount will go this. As we know already in the ledger, what happens, the posting is done by the name of the opposite side account, but the amount of the same account is mentioned. Okay, to workmen compensation claim. Fine, how much? 10,000. Now we need to see any other entry we have related to revaluation. I do not think that any other entry exists. Alright then, let's see whether there is a profit or loss on the revaluation. So this side total is more, it means it is loss. Loss of 2,000. Sohail and Amir. old partners. Always remember, okay, old ratio. So what is their ratio? 3:2. So we can divide like this. Now you can calculate that. That is 1200 and that is 800. So 1200 will be borne by Suhail and 800 will be borne by Amir in total. Alright. Now let's move on towards preparation of partners capital account. Okay. And there few important things are going to matter. Okay. We'll talk about this as well. I'll explain you this. This is not useful here. That's why I'm not tackling here. Okay. This will be useful at the time of preparation of balance sheet. Right. So at that time I will be discussing it. Alright, this is the format of partners capital account. Let's prepare it. Very first we'll put the balances of those 30,000, 20,000. Now Tahir has brought his capital through check. So by bank account, how much he has brought? Capital I am talking about, not goodwill right now. Okay, so don't commit mistake. 30,000. He has brought goodwill as well of 20,000, but in his account entry will not be there, because what entry will be done in case of goodwill? Bank account debit premium for goodwill and then premium for goodwill to sacrificing partner. Okay, so here it will come. What is the amount? 20,000. So this 20,000 has to be divided in sacrificing ratio, but here the old ratio and sacrificing ratio will be similar because no other specification is given. Okay, so 3 by 5 will go to Suhail and 2 by 5 will go to Amir. So that will come out 12,000 and 8,000. Fine. So let's put the value here. Okay. Now let's move further. Yes, general reserve, that has to be 60,000 has to be distributed in this ratio. In similar way, we'll be doing that. Okay, 36,000 and 24,000. Any other? See, this employees provident fund is a liability that will not be distributed. Okay, and this does not exist anymore because that has been completely finished in compensation of the claim. Okay. Yes, this advertisement suspense account. This is a kind of loss, accumulated loss. What will be the general entry for that? Old partners capital account debit to advertisement suspense account. Okay. So that is why I mentioned it here. What is the value? 10,000. So 10,000 will be divided in this way. Here it will come out 6,000 and it is 4,000. Understood? Now, any other treatment is remaining? Let's have a look. I don't think so. All are done. Revaluation loss. Okay. It was 1200 and 800. Thus it is done. Now we can do the total here. This is 30,000 here and 30,000 here as well, because no other adjustment is given. Now, how much it comes out? 44, 52, 52,000. Now out of this 52,000, we need to deduct that 4,800. It comes out 47,200. Now let's have total here. 66, 68, 78. 78,000. Now out of this 78,000, we'll have to deduct that 7,200. And how much it comes out? Let's see. 70,800. These are the balances to be forwarded to the balance sheet. 70,800, 47,200 and 30,000. Okay, remember always whenever you prepare the partners capital account, take care of the reserve. Reserves are there in this side, and take care of the losses. Losses are there in that side. Understood? This point is remaining that will be utilized at the time of balance sheet. I'll be explaining it. Okay, so now it's time to prepare the balance sheet. Alright, so this is the format of balance sheet as at 1st April 2020, liability side and asset side. Let's put the values here. Okay. No change was there in the creditors, so creditors will be here as it is. And similarly, there was no change in this employees provident fund. It will also be placed here as it is. Okay, this workman compensation reserve does not exist, but the claim exists of 40,000. Fine. Journal reserve does not exist, but the capitals exist. It changed value. Now the amount from the capital account you can put 70,800 and 47,200 and 30,000. You can see in the partners capital account. The total comes out 1,48,000. Alright, now let's move on. Bank. and debtors. Now it's time to discuss that, but before that I just put other values. Okay, stock 22,000 is given, and how much we have? Okay, we have increased. So stock has become 27,000 here. You can mention here 22,000 plus 5,000. Okay, similarly land and building is increased by 6,000. Okay, so 36,000 plus 6,000, that is 42,000. Fine. Now plant and machinery, is there any change in this? Let's see. I do not see any change in this. There is no change in this. 24,000 will be put as it is. Now let's talk about bank, and then let's talk about debtors. Okay, now let's understand this point. Fine. What they're saying, let's understand. A bill of exchange of rupees 20,000, which was previously discounted with banker, was dishonored. Okay, on 31st March 2020, but no entry has been passed for dishonor. See, for this you will have to remember the entries related to bill of exchange. Whenever a bill is discounted from bank, then what entries are passed in the books of drawer? Bank account debit, discount charges account debit to BR, right? So this entry is done when the bill is discounted from the bank. But if this bill gets dishonored, then what entry is supposed to be passed? Drawing. Drawing means debtors. Debit to bank account. Now the same has happened on 31st March 2020. The bill was dishonored. Let's read it again. A bill of exchange of rupees 20,000, which was previously discounted with banker. Okay, this was already done. Fine. Was dishonored on 31st March 2020, but no entry has been passed for dishonor. Means this entry was to be passed, but it has not been passed. Understood? So if we pass this entry right now, then what effects we are going to see? We are going to see this, that the bank amount will decrease by 20,000 because this is the asset, it is being credited. So bank will decrease by 20,000, right? And debtors will increase by 20,000 because earlier the debtors were over. These were transferred to bill receivable, and bill receivable were converted into bank. Okay, but these exist now one more time because this has been dishonored, right? So debtors will increase by 20,000 because these are being debited here. Okay, so what is the debtors value? 44,000. 44,000 plus 20,000. How much it comes out? 64,000. Alright. Okay, and then rest treatment we can do. Okay, we will deduct the provision for bad debts, and we have increased that. Okay, provision for doubtful debt we increased by 3,000. So earlier it was 2,000, now we added 3,000, it became 5,000. So we deduct that 5,000 out of 64,000. How much it comes out? 59,000. Understood? Now let's talk about bank. Okay, bank. We'll have to see the values from initial point. This you have to remember that bank amount will decrease by 20,000. Okay. Now let's understand. What was the initial balance of bank? 42,000. Alright. Okay. Now Tahir brought check of rupees 30,000 as capital and 20,000 as his share of goodwill. Now how much it comes out? 92,000. Alright. Now any payment we did? No, we did not make any payment here. So we'll deduct this 20,000. Now it comes out 72,000. Okay. So this amount of bank will be mentioned here. We can mention here, there is no problem. 42,000 plus 30,000 plus 20,000 minus. Alright. Now we can make the total. One more time explain you. This entry was to be done but could not be done. Now if we pass this entry, so it is going to pass this impact. Debtors will increase by 20,000 and bank will reduce by 20,000. Okay. Now let's make the total of these two sides. This side total is 2,24,000 and this side total is also 2,24,000. Alright. So this is how the question is done. Understood? Whenever the question asks directly preparation of revaluation account, how we can prepare, then we'll have to depend on working notes. Fine. You have to think the journal entries in your mind, and then you can do the treatment. Okay. So for that, rigorous practice of the question is needed. Okay. You have to attempt various questions on the similar concept. Okay. Only then you are going to have expertise in this. Understood the point? Okay. But here also we are not ending. As I told you that we are going to attempt the series of numerical problems. So now we are moving towards the another question. You can see the question on your screen. So I have written the question here. Let's read it out. Parmeet, Karnal and Rajendra were on partnership terms, sharing profits and losses in the ratio of 6:3:1. That is their old ratio. They decide to take Sukhwinder into partnership with effect from 1st April 2020 on bringing rupees 50,000 as capital and 20,000 as premium for goodwill. The new profit sharing ratio among Parmeet, Karnal, Rajendra and Sukhwinder will be 3:3:1. Okay, so that is the new profit sharing ratio. They also decide to record the effect of all the reserves, accumulated profits and losses without affecting their book values. That is the twist here. Means this is the situation. They are not going to change the book values of accumulated profits, reserves, losses, etc. Means these all will be mentioned in the new balance sheet at the same values, but the effect has to be adjusted. Alright. So the balance sheet is contingency reserve, profit and loss account, general reserve, capitals are giving Parmeet, Karnal and Rajendra. Asset side, bank, debtors, stock, land and building, plant and machinery, advertisement, suspense. Fine. Pass necessary journal entries on the admission of Sukhwinder and prepare partners' capital accounts and balance sheet of the new firm. Alright, without wasting much time, let's do the journal entries. Okay, so very first journal entry will be there for these two things. Okay, so on which date we are going to pass the entry? 2020 April 1. Okay, have a look here. Cash account debit 70,000 to Sukhwinder's capital account 50,000 to premium for goodwill account 20,000. Being cash and premium for goodwill brought by new partner, right? 50,000 he brought as capital and 20,000 as premium. Okay, and this premium is supposed to be adjusted. Okay, so for that the entry will be passed. Premium for goodwill account debit to sacrificing partners. If the gaining is there, it is debited. Okay, but before going on to this, we need to calculate the gaining or sacrificing ratio. Okay, so let's calculate it here. Parmeet, Karnal, Rajendra and Sukhwinder. So Parmeet earlier was getting 6/10, he was getting 3/10 and he was getting 1/10 and he was not getting anything. New ratio 3/10, 3/10, 3/10 and 1/10. Right? Nothing we did, we just mentioned the old ratio as well as the new ratio. Okay, so Parmeet earlier was getting 6/10 and now he is getting 3/10. It means he has sacrificed 3/10. Okay, Karnal earlier was getting 3/10, now also is getting 3/10. It means no change. Neither he sacrificed nor he gained. Okay, Rajendra earlier was getting 1/10 and now he is getting 3/10. Means he has gained by 2/10. Understood? Similarly, this is a new partner. His entire share is gain. That is 1/10. So these two are gaining. So their gaining ratio is 2:1. Okay, and only Parmeet is sacrificing. So what entry will be passed here? Have a look. Because Parmeet is sacrificing, so his capital account will be credited. Okay, and his Rajendra is also gaining. Fine. See, on the place of Sukhwinder, premium for goodwill is there, but this Rajendra is gaining, so his capital account will be debited. Okay. Now we need to calculate the value. How we calculate? Have a look here. Okay, see how much share Sukhwinder is getting 1/10. So for 1/10 share, goodwill is equal to how much he is bringing? 20,000. So for one entire share, the goodwill of the firm will be 20,000 multiplied 10 by 1. That is 2 lakh. So now we calculate in this 2 lakh what is the value of Parmeet's sacrificing share. Okay, so Parmeet's sacrificing share is 3 by 10. We calculate that. So that comes out 60,000. Alright. Now from the 60,000, these two are gaining, so they will share the 60,000. Fine. So this will be divided in two parts, 40,000 and 20,000. Sukhwinder is already bringing 20,000. Okay, and this Rajinder needs to also compensate 40,000. So 40,000 will be mentioned here and 60,000 will be mentioned here, being premium for goodwill adjusted. Alright, so you can have a look here. Now let's move on towards the third entry. And third entry will be related to this adjustment of reserves and accumulated profit and losses. Alright, so for that we have to do some kind of exercise here. We have to calculate very first the net impact, and for that what we have to do? Already I have discussed this thing in the previous videos, you can go back and see that. Okay, so contingency reserve is 30,000, profit and loss account is 90,000, and general reserve is 1,80,000. Right? So all these are positive. I told you that positives are added and losses means negative will be deducted. So very first let's calculate how much it comes out. That is 3 lakh. Okay. Now we'll deduct the advertisement suspense account. What is the value? 1,20,000. This is net effect and this is in positive. And I told you when the net effect is in positive, then the sacrificing partner's capital account will be credited and gaining partner's capital account will be debited. Okay, and we know here two are gaining, Sukhwinder and Rajinder, because new partner is also included in this case. Okay, and only one partner is sacrificing, that is Parmeet. Okay, so very first we'll calculate the amount. Parmeet is sacrificing by 3 by 10. So how much it comes out? 54,000. Okay, and they both Rajinder and Sukhwinder are gaining by 2 by 10 and 1 by 10. This amount will be divided, that is 36,000 and 18,000. So this will be borne by Rajinder and this will be borne by Sukhwinder. Okay, and this amount will be given to Parmeet. Okay, so one entry has to be passed here. Okay, Rajinder's capital account debit 36,000, Sukhwinder's capital account debit 18,000, to Parmeet's capital account 54,000. Alright, being adjustment of reserve, accumulated profits and losses made. Okay, so in this entry we can see that whatever effects were there, because the old partners were supposed to distribute all the profits and they are supposed to bear the losses. Okay, and thereafter their capital accounts would have been affected. Okay, and these would not exist here in the balance sheet in that case, but this is the another case they want to show. So whenever they want to keep all these reserves, profit and losses there at the same value, so in that case new partner has to be included, he has to become the part of that. Okay, so that is why he is also compensating, right? In the entire process Parmeet is sacrificing, okay, and Rajinder is also getting, and Karnal is neither getting or nor sacrificing. Understood the point? So Parmeet will be compensated for that. Okay, so this was all about the journal entry part. Because revaluation account is not required in that, we will move towards the capital account. So where it is the format of partners capital account. Without wasting much time, let's start. Very first we put the balances 70,000, 60,000 and 80,000. Alright, now this Sukhwinder has brought capital in cash. You can go back to the journal entries. Now this premium for goodwill was there only for Parmeet. Okay, 20,000. And Rajinder's capital account was also debited by 40,000. Okay, so what was the entry? Rajinder's capital account debit, premium for goodwill account debit to Parmeet's capital. So in Parmeet's capital, one entry has been done by premium for goodwill, another will be done by Rajinder's capital. Understood the point? Okay, now let's talk about the last entry. Okay, the last entry was there. Rajinder's capital account debit, Sukhwinder's capital account debit to Parmeet. Okay, so here once again Rajendra's capital account. This is for adjustment of reserves and accumulated profit. Okay, so 36,000 and by Sukhvinder's capital 18,000. Nothing I did, I just posted the journal entries into this ledger. Okay, so the second entry, which was their premium for goodwill debit, Rajendra's capital debit 2 per week. So 2 per week in Rajendra's account, this 40,000 will be debited. Okay, once again 2 per week, this 36,000 and Sukhvinder 80,000, the last entry. Okay, Karnal has got nothing to do with, that's why nothing has been done in his case. Okay, now let's do the total. So his account total is 50,000. Out of the 50,000, we need to deduct only 18,000. So it comes out 32,000 to balance sheet. Right. Let's calculate for Rajendra. 80,000 and 76,000 has been deducted. So only 4,000 is left. Now let's calculate for Karnal. 60,000. Nothing has been deducted. So 60,000 is maintained here. Now let's calculate for Parmeet. Let's do the total, that is 1,84,000, 1,84,000, and this 1,84,000 is maintained. Alright, so let's have a look. Once again, explain you. This is the balance. Okay, this is the cash brought by him, new partner. This is the amount of goodwill. Okay, because only Parmeet is being compensated, so only in his account it is there, right? Okay, and Rajendra is also compensating him, so that is why his account is also mentioned here. Okay, and it will be deducted from his account. That's why 40,000 is given here. Similarly, the last entry has effect of 3 of the accounts. 36,000 has come here, 18,000 has come here, and 36,000, 18,000 is debited here as well. Understood the point? Then we balanced it. Now it's time to prepare the balance sheet, and balance sheet preparation is pretty easy in this case. Alright, so this is the format of balance sheet as at 1st April 2020. Liability side and asset side. Let's put the values here. As the values are not supposed to change, then similar values will be put here. How is the contingency reserve? 30,000. Profit and loss account 90,000. General reserve 1,80,000. Capitals will be changed, right? Because the statement was there not to change these. Okay, and this advertisement suspense, we'll put the capital values. Alright, 1,84,000, 60,000, 4,000, and 32,000. Let's do the total of that. 2,80,000, right? Now let's see the asset side. Bank. Here the changes will happen. We'll discuss about it. Debtors, no change. Stock, no change. 20,000. Land and building, 1,40,000. Plant and machinery, 1,20,000. Advertisement suspense, 1,20,000. Change will be there in the bank. Or how? I tell you. See, how much amount we had in the beginning? 70,000. Right? See, Sukhvinder brought 50,000 as capital plus 20,000 we brought as premium of goodwill. So it will be added. Now let's see how much it comes out. 1,40,000. Now let's do it. 5,80,000 this side. Now let's see this side as well. 5,80,000. Alright. Once again explain you. You can see, you can compare this balance sheet with this balance sheet. Okay, what are the changes? Okay, changes are there only in the capital and in the bank. Okay, bank will definitely change because amount has been brought. The condition is there related to only this. And one more thing, in this question, no asset and liability value has been changed. Why? Because it is not given. If these were given in the question, then definitely these value would have been changed. So there is no condition regarding their changes is given there. Otherwise, you would have changed them. Okay, we are just talking about these. Alright, these are there at the same value according to this point. Fine. So this is how we attempt such kind of question. Okay, so you have to have proper practice on that so that you can become master at solving such kind of questions. But here we are not ending. As I told you, series of numerical problem and the series still goes on. Alright.